but it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Disney is making a new live-action version of Snow White, but not everyone is happy about it. They cast Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, to play Snow White. Some people are upset because Snow White has always been shown as a character with very pale skin, and the story comes from a German fairy tale. The idea of changing the way Snow White looks has made people argue a lot online. Fans feel that Snow White should look the way she did in the original movie, which came out in 1937. This movie is very old and important because it was Disney's first ever animated feature film. It's a classic that people of all ages have loved for years, so any big changes to the story or characters make fans feel very emotional. Rachel Zegler didn't help calm the situation either. In some interviews, she said that the original 1937 movie is creepy, and that Snow White's relationship with Prince Charming is kind of stalkerish.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
She was talking about how the prince finds Snow White and kisses her while she's asleep, which is a key part of the story. Zegler also said that in the new version, they are going to make Snow White more of a strong, independent character instead of just waiting for a prince to save her.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
Instead of dreaming about true love's kiss, this new Snow White will dream about becoming a leader. She'll be brave and fearless, just like her father told her she could be.
Not gonna be safe with the prince, and she's not gonna be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Some people like the idea of Snow White being more modern and independent, but many fans are upset. They feel like Disney is changing too much of what made the original story so special. A lot of people online have said that this new movie doesn't even feel like Snow White anymore. One fan said it feels like a completely different movie that just has the same name. These fans believe that Disney should keep the story closer to the original and not change too much, especially because Snow White is such a famous and loved tale. While Disney's version of Snow White is getting a lot of criticism, another company called The Daily Wire has decided to make their own version of the story.
Last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements.
The Daily Wire is mostly known for its political news, but now they're making movies too. They want to create a version of Snow White that is much more like the original fairy tale and stays true to the classic story that people have loved for many years. Their goal is to avoid all the modern changes that Disney is making, like replacing the 7 dwarfs with magical creatures and changing Snow White's personality. Instead, The Daily Wire says they will make a movie that honors the original themes of Snow White, like love, bravery, and innocence.
We're not trying to turn Snow White into something that it's not. We're not trying to turn Snow White into a MAGA conservative movie.
In the Daily Wire's version, they have cast Brett Cooper as Snow White. Brett is excited about playing this role, and she has made sure to tell fans that their movie will respect the original story.
We're just trying to represent the values that Snow White is based in, the timeless values that we all loved growing up that are sadly being forgotten.
She promises that this version will stay close to the classic tale while still being enjoyable for today's audiences. Fans who are unhappy with Disney's changes have been thrilled about this news, and when the Daily Wire released their first trailer, it got a lot of positive reactions. People are excited that this version seems to be much more like the Snow White they grew up with. A lot of fans have even started comparing the two movies, and many are saying they prefer Brett Cooper's version over Disney's. One fan said, "If it's a contest between Brett Cooper and Rachel Zegler, Brett Cooper wins. No question." Brett has been very humble and grateful for the opportunity to play Snow White.
First live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me, I'm Snow White, which is so funny to say.
And fans appreciate her respectful attitude toward the role. This is very different from the negative reaction that Disney's movie has been getting, especially because Rachel Zegler has made some controversial comments that upset fans.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
Now, some people are even saying that the Daily Wire's version of Snow White could do better at the box office than Disney's remake. If this happens, it would send a strong message to Hollywood that audiences prefer movies that stay true to the original stories, instead of making big changes to fit modern trends.
Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World.
With Brett Cooper's version getting so much love and Disney's version facing backlash, it seems like the Daily Wire has a real chance of winning over fans. People are tired of seeing their favorite classic stories get changed too much, and they are excited to see a movie that stays close to the heart of Snow White. If the Daily Wire's movie ends up being more popular, it could show Hollywood that there's still a huge audience for faithful retellings of old fairy tales, especially ones that have been around for generations like Snow White. As people are getting more excited about the Daily Wire's version of Snow White, Disney's movie keeps facing more problems.
Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
A lot of fans are unhappy with how Disney is handling the remake, and one big reason is because of Rachel Zegler's comments.
Never revisited Snow White again. So
in several interviews, she said things about the original Snow White that made fans upset. Some people think her comments were disrespectful to the classic movie. For example, she called the original film creepy and said Snow White's relationship with Prince Charming was stalkerish. Fans feel like Rachel doesn't really appreciate the original story, and this has added to all the controversy surrounding the movie. Some fans are so upset that they've even started asking Disney to remove Rachel Zegler from the movie. This shows just how much backlash there is. A lot of people think Disney is making too many changes to the beloved fairy tale and that Rachel's comments aren't helping. The changes, like turning the 7 dwarfs into CGI magical creatures and taking away the idea of true love's kiss, have made some fans feel like Disney is moving too far away from what made Snow White special in the first place.
All of this is why Benke has decided to produce their own adaptation of this beloved Grimm's Brothers fairy tale.
While Disney is dealing with all this criticism, the Daily Wire's movie has been getting great feedback. Fans have said that Brett Cooper's version of Snow White feels much closer to the original, and they like that it doesn't try to change the heart of the story. People are comparing the two movies, and the reaction so far is clear. Many prefer Brett Cooper's version, especially because she is respectful of the classic tale. Brett has said that her movie will still be modern in some ways, but it will not forget the timeless themes of love, bravery, and innocence that made Snow White a favorite for so many generations.
We're going up against Disney. We have our critics, but we have passion and we have a mission in mind that is bigger than just this movie.
Disney's movie is also facing criticism for the way it looks. Fans have been disappointed with the CGI and green screen effects, saying they feel cheap or unrealistic. Some people have even compared the look of Disney's movie to something out of the Shrek films, which is not what people expect from a live-action Disney fairy tale. On the other hand, the Daily Wire's version of Snow White is using more traditional sets and effects, which fans think will make the movie feel more magical and true to the original. There's also been drama around Peter Dinklage, an actor who criticized the way the 7 dwarfs are being portrayed in Disney's version. His comments led to Disney replacing the dwarfs with CGI creatures, but this decision upset many fans. People feel that Disney should have cast real actors with dwarfism, as past adaptations of Snow White have done. Some say that talented actors could have made the dwarfs a much more authentic part of the movie, but Disney missed the chance to do this. All of these issues have made fans wonder if Disney's version of Snow White will be able to succeed, especially with all the controversy surrounding it.
Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
At the same time, the Daily Wire is moving forward with their version of the movie, which seems to be free of any major problems or drama. Fans are praising Brett Cooper's respectful and modern take on the story, and many are now excited to see her version of Snow White on the big screen.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Some people are even predicting that the Daily Wire's movie might do better at the box office than Disney's remake. As things stand now, Disney has a lot of work to do if they want to win back fans who are upset with the changes they've made.
I watched it for the first time in probably 17 years.
And that's all the latest drama surrounding Disney's Snow White and the Daily Wire's version. What do you guys think? Are you excited to see either of these movies, or do you think one is going to be a complete flop? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing what you all have to say. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on all the latest celebrity news, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I've got tons of exciting content coming up, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.